degrees!
Nice. It's fucking hot in here!
What the hell?
No, not the one at the front, I just swapped.
Holy snipers.
Just launched.
Yo,
Turned on the fucking lights for. Oh my god, it's so hot!
We spawned in and it shot us though.
Oh, we're dead. We're dead. We're just dead.
Oh, I can't. Oh my god! The fucking ship, dude! I'm going to get you.
Okay, time to rebel, boys.
Oh, I died.
We've all been patiently waiting for an update to this game ever since launch, and finally it's here! And we have a lot of content to go through, so I won't go super in depth on everything because that would take ages. I will, however, make videos on some of the bigger additions, such as the new game mode. For transparency reasons, I should let you guys know that I am in the post 1.0 beta test group, so I made this video in advance of the update coming out. If some things don't match up with the live build, I'll make a note of it in the description. And without further ado, let's get right into it. You guys know how there was a community made mod for expanding the amount of players in a given game session. Well, the devs saw this as feedback and proof that the players wanted the ability to expand the crew up to a 6-player lobby, so they actually included it. And having 6 players on the tiny frigate ship is a lot of fun, and it's even better on the bigger destroyer ship. Although it's a big change, there isn't really much to it other than more people equals more fun. I would love to get a full crew going for a session, so for those of you who are interested in the full party, please join the official Void Crew Discord and send me a message in there looking for groups. So yeah, a new game mode, and people have been asking for this for a really long time, and the dev team have absolutely delivered on this promise. The new game mode is called Survivor and is a wave-based game mode where void jumping is a thing of the past, as you're in an enclosed arena facing stronger and stronger enemies until you inevitably die. Stronger enemies will drop better and better loot rarities, and loot drops have been increased significantly. You have power generators, thruster boosters, payload launchers, mods of all kinds are all possible drops from any type of enemy. And as far as my experience tells me, the higher caliber enemies like bombers and destroyers will more often than not drop better loot than, say, small fighters. You can also get loot from the arena itself. Containers spawn in at the start of the match, but they do not respawn during the run. You get a set amount of containers and they never respawn. However, each round will spawn in some shipwrecks that contain loot. These wrecks spawn in after each round during downtime and will despawn when the combat round starts. It's important to note that the fabricator in this mode differs from a normal pilgrimage. This is because you lose the option to upgrade it and you start with essentially nothing. You have no inscription blueprints, you have no weapon mods or any of the sort. You only start with the most basic of basic components, such as common crates, small ammo crates, whole repair plates, and things like it. And as mentioned, I will include more information in the longer and more dedicated video. And next up is the Payload Launcher. It's a new module that has the ability to pump out all sorts of different payloads, well, surprisingly enough. And you can launch missiles, proximity mines, decoy lures, and the list of missiles includes the medium missiles, the cluster missiles, the heavy torpedoes, and last but definitely not least, the Void Harbinger, which is the product of the Madam Haddam project.
And now I think I'm a safe distance away. And that is the Void Harbinger nuke.
These payloads can be launched by hand if you arm your wanted payload by holding left click and then throwing it with your right click. Otherwise, you can use the launching mechanisms either by the payload itself or ask your pilot to launch it from the helm. The module consumes no power by default and has 3 positions where the payload can be launched from.
Have you ever sat down with a gaming session with the lads, only to find your homeboy having to leave early to attend to his stupid child? Fear not, for the developers of Void Crew have just a product for you. Now you can save your run. Leave your hollow victims to die another day while you and your crew can do other, although less important things, such as sleeping, going to work, eating food, and touching grass.
In all seriousness, the save game mechanic is a lifesaver. You can now end the run to continue another day should a crew member have to leave for, whatever reason. And bear in mind that you can only save one run at a time. And at the time of writing, the game does not save the circuit breakers, the ammo in either the turrets, the KPD, and the crates, and the state of the batteries. The effects are also not saved, but your ship's HP, alloy, and biomass amount is saved. Since XP is granted upon mission completion, you can now save after completing a mission and go back to the hub to upgrade your gene tree should you be under level 30. Speaking of the gene tree, you can now change your class on the ship. Both ships now have a personal loadout screen on board located in front of the sarcophagi on both the ships, and this lets you customize your character, modify your gene tree, pick one of the 4 presets you have, and even change the emote wheel, which is also a new, although minor, change.
Have you ever sat down with a gaming session with the lads?
Oh, I can't be asked. You asked, and the developers delivered. Again! Now on certain positions inside both the frigate and the destroyer, there are periscopes that anyone can use to get the third-person view that the pilot gets. This is super useful because now the crew won't have to continuously ask for information from the pilot, they can just get the information they need for themselves. For example, if the engineer takes a peek and sees that there's a horde of fighters incoming, he can preemptively make the decision to prepare cluster missiles should the gunners need some help. Speaking of gunners, they now have aim assist. Controller players had a really hard time aiming consistently at moving targets, but now they really don't have any excuse for missing their shots. And to those mouse and keyboard warriors out there, the accuracy isn't that bad, you just probably suck at aiming. Feedback from the community made it obvious that this game was way too easy once you got into a rhythm and having upgraded your entire ship. Because now they've reworked the entire balancing system. I will now list the principles that the developers followed to ensure that new players have a more enjoyable experience and that the quote-unquote wall that many new players encountered won't be as difficult to climb over. They said, as a player, I expect the first 2 objectives to be easy while I can still improve my ship. And I expect difficulty to escalate progressively up until the first boss. After defeating said first boss, I expect the difficulty to ramp up very fast. And as an expert player, I expect to die from mistakes or attrition after playing max 3 to 4 hours. These balance changes means that the longer you run, the more challenging the enemies actually becomes, which in turn means that we have lost the ability to turn 100+ missions in a single pilgrimage. It's a shame, but it makes sense to me since that most people found the game to be boring once you had upgraded your entire ship. Now it's more of a question on how many missions you can go with sufficient damage and dodging. Challenge runs now actually pose a challenge. Both hostile and friendly entities now have a level attached to their name that indicates their total HP as well as their damage output, and escort ships and minefield data shards both scale alongside enemies upon summoning, and this is true for both Pilgrimage and Survivor. Now that you're guaranteed to take more damage the longer you play, you'll need the appropriate information on how to take care of your hull. First thing is that they have completely removed the sanctified hull repair plates that were in the engineer tree. And this is a good move in my opinion, because they enable the player to not repair minor hull breaches in favor of a major one. And to me, that does not make any sense at all, and apparently the developers thought so too. The way that it works now is that for every minor hull breach you get, you're guaranteed 10% HP back with a net loss of 1%. And this makes it so that if you have your ship repaired, you're almost always close to at least 90% hull capacity. Major hull breaches repair 20% hull HP with a net loss of 2% and 4 alloys on top for the repair plate. And this might sound overpowered, but when you see for yourself how much damage late stage enemies do, you'll realize it's not as overpowered as it might seem. You know how missions used to display the percent chance of an in-mission event like an asteroid storm happening? Well, now the astro map will show these twists that are guaranteed to happen, and this means that you can now plan ahead of power anomalies and twists of the sort. Twists like power anomalies take place on the entire map all the time, while other types like asteroid storms and malfunction twists only happen occasionally. Recent changes to this will now loudly announce when a twist is about to happen, like in this example here.
I didn't realize the thing would be on.
Yeah, it usually isn't, right? The old version just gave you a minor warning in the top right corner, so this is a very nice addition. If you don't notice when a twist is happening now, please, for the love of God, go meet with your doctor. The UI will also display the amount of reinforcements in the level, essentially meaning how many enemies will spawn in during the mission. And as a cherry on top of all the new goodies added into this update, you can now add mutators to challenge yourself, and some of these mutators are unlocked through in-game achievements. In any given run, you can only pick a maximum of 4 mutators, and here's the list. First up we have Flippin' Ridiculous, which makes circuit breakers trip 1000% faster and grants a 10% bonus XP, and there's no achievement needed at the time of writing. Pinata, which makes enemies killed spew confetti when blowing up. This grants 0 XP and is unlocked through the Madam Preserves You achievement. And for the power hungry out there, we have Underpowered, which lowers total power by 3 and grants a 20% XP bonus, and this is unlocked by the Overpowered achievement. Revenant Hollow makes some enemies respawn as soon as they die. At the time of writing, the respawned enemies can drop loot, and this goes for the collectors too. This grants a 25% XP bonus and is unlocked by the Hunter of Hollow achievement. Shielded Hollow, as you may expect, makes all Hollow have shields that are more powerful than normal because they have half the recharge delay, a +1 to generation, and 1.5 times more HP, and this grants a 25% XP bonus. This is unlocked through the Doctrine of Defense achievement. Typecast makes kinetic damage versus shields and energy damage versus hull and armor extremely ineffective and grants a 25% XP bonus with no achievement necessary. Pain is Good makes the ship take an additional 150% damage and gives a 25% XP bonus, and it's unlocked through the Insane Challenger achievement. Since your mutators are kept at 4 choices, you can achieve a max of 95% XP bonus. Now it's time to round off the video, and I'll start off by saying that although the developers did take a long time on this update, I ultimately think it's more of a positive choice. They took their time in delivering this update, and in an age of rushed video games, indie studios have to speak the language of quality more than anything else. The dev team has been very active on social media like Discord and Reddit, and this has been shown in this update with so many features actually being community feedback. They listen, guys, we just have to be patient with them. At the time of posting this video, I will probably be live on my Twitch channel trying out the new update. Please come and send a message in chat. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.